So who is Stephen Jennings?
That's an interesting question. I'm a New Zealander. I've been an investor and have lived in emerging markets for the last 25 years. And I'm the CEO of Rendeavour, which is the controlling shareholder in Tatu City. And Rendeavour is building 7 city-sized projects across Africa, including Tatu City.
Okay. You say you are from New Zealand. Why Africa and Kenya in particular?
You know, Africa's time has arrived at long last. I think we realised about 10 years ago that the takeoff in Africa was about to happen. So we started investing across the region. Africa is now the fastest growing region in the world. And as the rest of the world the growth is slowing down, growth is holding up, or if anything, it's still accelerating across Africa. So Africa is going through the same transition that Asia went through over the last 30 years. And we believe very strongly that the African transition is going to be every bit as successful. So it's a long, multi-decade process, but we're going to see huge growth and huge development.
Is Kenya said to be the foothold, as in where you are launching pad for other areas in Africa?
You know, Nairobi and Kenya are the ideal, as you put it, launching pad for East Africa. You're the hub for East Africa. You have a very skilled workforce. You have a very good democracy. You have a very strong civil society. So a lot of the basics are in place. But the Asian experience tells you that success has to be earned. So many of the countries that were expected to be successful in Asia weren't, and vice versa. And we can also already start to see that pattern emerging in Africa. So Kenya has a great starting point, but Kenya will need to modernise, it will need reform, it'll need to continue to develop to be one of the winners in the African transition.
I am aware of the bottlenecks, the court cases that you have encountered since you came here.
Yeah, we've had pluses and minuses, and perhaps some of the minuses get more attention. But if you think we've gone through the whole planning process, we're laying out all the infrastructure, and we're selling a lot of land very quickly. So we've had a lot of support from Kiambu County, we've had a lot of support from Kenya Power, we've had a lot of support from Athi River Water Authority, the Roads Board, and now we're getting tremendous support from the business community who are coming in, building industrial developments, and we're getting a lot of support from residential home buyers. So the pluses definitely outweigh the minuses. On the negative side, we've had very difficult partners. They have been extortionate, they've engaged in criminal activity, but we are pursuing those issues, very effectively through the court process.
Is it true that you fought the Russian mafia? You encountered such a fight in Russia, and is it the same spirit you will employ here so that whatever plans you have will come to fruition?
The way I put it is that we've focused on early stage emerging markets for a long, long time. So in those kinds of markets, there's always a few bumps in the road, and there's always people who will try and take your assets away from you if you don't defend yourself. So you need to build the relationships, have the credibility, and have the strength to fight the people who will take things away from you if you let them. And eventually people figure out you're there to do business, you're there to build things, you're there to create partners, but it's not a good idea to try and go after those guys because they will fight and defend themselves. I think that's the way I'd describe it.
Where else do you intend to invest other than Kenya?
So at the moment we have 2 cities in Ghana, we have 2 cities in Nigeria, we have a city in DRC, but this week we signed a term sheet for our 2nd city in DRC, and we have a city in Lusaka in Zambia. So everywhere else we're on to our 2nd city, and if it wasn't for the court issues, we would be building our 2nd city in Kenya by now also.
Tell us more about Rendezvous or Rendeavour.
So Rendeavour is the largest owner of urban land in Africa. We have 30,000 acres, sorry, of urban land. We buy large parcels of land outside of the main city. We plan that land, and then we use our own capital to put in all of the infrastructure, all of the high voltage electricity, the roads, the water, the sewerage, and the internet connectivity. And then once we've created the whole environment for a properly planned city with proper infrastructure and proper land title, we bring in industrial groups, commercial groups, retailers, house builders, and we build out the entire city. But all of those projects, they are of a city scale. So we don't do small niche developments. We take on the challenge of creating a whole new city environment.
From Pundit is that Tatu City is one of the biggest foreign direct investors to Kenya.
Yes.
Talk about that, please.
Yeah, we came here very early. We started building our investment bank here in 2006. So we saw the opportunity in Kenya way before many other foreign investors. We had faith in the development and growth in Kenya. We realised that the biggest opportunities in Africa and in Kenya have to do with urban development and the development of a middle class. We think that's the driver of change, and that's where the biggest commercial opportunities are. So we bought the land at Tatu back in 2008 with the view of building one of the best and one of the biggest new cities in Africa. And we've invested over $100 million of our own capital, over 10 billion Kenyan shillings in the project.
It will likely create how many jobs?
It'll create about 30,000 jobs. But the other thing that's happened is there are many imitators of Tatu, which we think is a good thing. So there are quite a few sort of mini Tatus that were started in Nairobi after we launched Tatu City. And that's what we see everywhere else we're building a city. So someone takes the idea, they adapt it, and they do it themselves. So you get this multiplier effect, which is really great.
Anything you'd want to tell any investor who wants to come to Kenya?
You know, the opportunity is very, very big. The opportunity is a long-term opportunity. It's still a challenging environment because it's an early stage market. So you need to come with a lot of commitment. But if you come with a lot of commitment, you'll get a lot of support and you'll be very successful.
Other than bottlenecks, what other challenges have you faced as an investor here?
You know, we've had very bad partners, and those partners have engaged in criminal activity. They've tried to extort us. But really, that's the only issue we've had. You know, I could talk at great length about the people who've supported us. People have been fantastic partners. The people who are developing on our land, the industrialists, they're great business people. They're fantastic to work with. We never look at the contract. We're doing more and more repeat business with them. And they're also great people. So, you know, there's always a couple of bad eggs, but there's many good people and many supportive people we've had contact with. Thanks, Sam.